You're listening to Mortgage Lending Mastery. Get the knowledge you need to advance your mortgage practice quickly and efficiently from Jen Duplessis, America's Mortgage Mastery mentor with over 37 years of experience and over $1 billion in lifetime fundings. Jen has been mentoring loan officers and realtors for over 15 years and speaking on stages across the globe. So settle in and get ready as Jen and her guests share their experience, passion, and strategies to help you crack the top producer code to reach new heights in your business. And now, here's your host, Jen Duplessis, Mortgage Mastery Mentor and head chick in charge of Kinetic Spark Consulting.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is Jen Duplessis. So I haven't done a Jen's Jot in quite some time, and I know I need to do more of them. I've just been focusing on some other things in my Facebook group called Mortgage Lending Mastery. But I wanted to share with you today something that I think will be pretty good for you guys. Well, it's going to be good. It's never going to be pretty good, right? It's going to be really good. I want to talk to you about 5 different skills that I believe everybody in sales, real estate investing, mortgages, everybody needs to have. And, for the loan officers that are listening, this is great for you to take to your real estate partners, right? And by the way, everybody else too, financial planners, etc. These 5 skills I think are really important, and they really were developed from just recently from COVID. It kind of came out of COVID, and I had used a few of them prior to that, but really honed in on these things, as I started realizing, wow, there's a lot of time that we're all sitting at home and, hopefully recreating or thinking about the foundation that we have created for our business, so that when we come out of COVID at some point in time, and truly we're starting to come out now, in dabbles, but, what could you be working on to really grow your business exponentially? And I may have mentioned this in another podcast, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it now. As soon as COVID started, I had just gotten back from Las Vegas at an event speaking at, and that was my last event that I had done live in person. And I got back and, I found out that we were all going to be stuck at home for a period of time. So I immediately initiated the 12-week year. And in 12 weeks, what I did is I accelerated my business 1 full year in those 12 weeks. And it was a lot of work, but I'm so happy I did it because I feel so much better in COVID. And especially, I think many of you know that I'm a real estate investor as well. And because of forbearance and loss of jobs and all of those things that are happening right now, unfortunately, it gives us a really good opportunity to be able to buy property. And so by accelerating one of my businesses in that 12-week period, I was or now am able to, I'm not doing it again right now, but 12-week year, but I'm able to accelerate my real estate investing business now so that I'm positioned properly to be able to take advantage of what the market's going to give us here in short order with foreclosures, et cetera. But I think that's, so whether you decide to do a 12-week year or you decide to do something, less than that, the key here is, please, for God's sakes, focus on the foundation of your business, the foundation of your business. I always say right now, it's short-term gain for long-term pain. Because if you go right back to where you were before interest rates were low and everybody was buying because they don't like their house, they feel like they're sardines in their house, remember what it was like. It's always important to remember what it was like before this happened. And a lot of people were struggling, and I don't want anyone who's listening to my podcast to ever be in a position where they're struggling. In fact, my clients are killing it. Everybody's doing well. There's no doubt about it. But there's a difference between doing well and killing it. And my clients have doubled their business. And imagine if they had been coaching with me for a little bit longer, they probably could have tripled it, right? Because they didn't have some things in play, and that's part of it, right? We're working on all those pieces. But these 5 things I think are really critical. So let's just dive in. I'm going to give you these 5 things, these 5 skills that I really think are important for you to be thinking about right now, whether or not it's good. And by the way, you can even do this as something I do at my workshops called the gap map. Where is the gap in my business. And we do a very intensive one, but this is a very short one. But so on a scale of 1 to 5, and I'm a believer in 1 to 5, 1 to 10 is just too anonymous. It's, what is 7? I mean, I don't know what 7 or 8 is on a scale, so I can't really figure that out. But a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, you're excellent at it. You got it. You nailed it. You're an expert. You're a market influencer, number one at it. You got it. That's 5. 1 is haven't thought about it. Never got it. Never learned about it. I have no clue. 3 being I know about it, but I don't really use it as often as I need to. I'm very inconsistent. 1 week I'm this, the next week I'm that. 2 is I kind of know about it. I'm starting to work on it, but I don't really know which direction to go, or it's so new at doing it that you haven't really mastered it. 4 is I know I need to use it, but I just don't use it consistently. And when I do use it, I'm really good at it, but I don't use it consistently. So on a scale of 1 to 5, and I know it's bouncing all over the place there, but on a 1 to 5, these are the 5 skills. So I'm just going to tell you what they are. So if you're taking notes, go ahead and write them down. Sales skills, service skills, system skills, source skills, and style skills. So let's just break all these down. First of all, how are your sales skills on a scale of 1 to 5? Now, if you're doing really well and you're not selling and you're just doing well because rates are low and you're getting all kinds of business, or you're a real estate agent and the house sells itself because there's not a lot of inventory, how are your sales skills truly? Have you had formal training? Have you ever used any real good, solid sales skills? Are you lacking in scripts? Do you have scripts? Do you believe in scripts? I'm not a believer in scripts. I'm a believer in some catchphrases, right? That I teach a class called Catch Me If You Can. It's a lot of little catchphrases. And in fact, I've done a podcast about it as well. But I think the best script is the truth. But have you worked on that? I mean, are you calling your clients right now? Your past clients, which I call alumni clients, because alumni always come back and bring a little money with them. They donate back into your business, right? But are you calling them, or are they calling you? And thank God they are. Because you don't know what to say. You don't want to sound salesy in a time of COVID. And I want to remind you that it's not a sales call, it's a service call. You're there to serve your clients. And so you want to be interested and curious about what they are going through right now and see what you can do to help. I mean, the worst thing in the world is you don't call your clients because you didn't want to sound salesy, and then they lose their home because they needed your expertise to guide them. I mean, my goodness, I can't imagine that. So that's a big issue for me. So sales skills. How are your sales skills? Where do they rank? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So do they need to be worked on? And what are you going to do? What actions are you going to take to hone in on those skills? Service skills. If your conversion ratio isn't very high, it might be a service skill issue that you just don't have the bandwidth, maybe. Maybe you don't have a system, and I'm not talking about those types of systems, but maybe you don't have a way that communicates with people on a regular basis to serve your clients. So really think about that. What does the service look like for my practice? And again, I've talked about customer experience versus customer service. And really, this is an experience. What are your customer experience skills? What are you doing that is just compelling your clients to tell all of their friends about you, so that you're not one and done with every family you help, whether it's in being a real estate investor, a realtor, or lender, but rather one and one. What are you doing to get more business from what you already have? So that level of service. I had a client who just didn't get back to people in time. So that's a service problem. So think about, how's my timing? What the mechanism that I'm using? Am I communicating? Am I engaged, or am I just aloof? And then once I do talk to them, do I follow up, right? And that leads us to systems. So what is your system skill? Do you have a system at all? And sometimes that's part of the issue is, and I laugh about my husband all the time, because sometimes he just writes referrals, napkin, and shoves it in a shirt. And then I wash the shirt and the lead's gone, right? He forgot where it came from. And I'm laughing about it, but I shouldn't, because I know a lot of us, we've all had something slip through the cracks, can't find piece of paper right on the back of an envelope, mail that envelope, or, later you spill coffee on it and you throw it away and forgot that the lead was there. So, but the system is really, really important. It's the only way you can scale is to have systems that are, for prospecting, for, the sales process itself, ironclad systems where it happens every single time. And this gets back into the customer experience piece where, when you have a really good system, or you have a one-time really good system and that client goes and tells their friends because they felt that experience was so good. And then that friend comes back and says, well, I don't know what happened with you, but my experience was terrible. And that's because there's a lack of a system. So everybody, you have to think about putting everything in a rotation, right? A regular system. It's called a client journey, but to put them in a regular system so that everyone experiences the same thing, yet feels like they're the only client. And so that's, I think, the main reasons my practice did so well is because I had built these unbelievable systems. So it's not just during the process, but it's also then during the post-closing, right? Or the alumni piece of it. It's also during that time as well where you have that nurturing, right? You're nurturing them to bring them back through that client journey. And I think a lot of people think that the client journey is linear, get a lead, close business, get a lead, close business, but it's actually a figure eight, right? An infinity sign where it's constantly moving, where you're bringing people in and nurturing them, and then they're coming back in again. And I think that's really, really critical for your business. So I would say, what's going on with that? What's your system look like? Do you have one? Is it consistent? This is the time to build it. So moving on to your source, I call it source skills, but moving on to your source, who are the sources that are giving you business? And especially right now, as we're in this, situation where we're probably working with people that we worked with before COVID. We're really not working with as many new people. Now, I hope you are. I hope that you're developing new relationships and looking at people and saying, who's been working? I always say this, who's complementing versus complicating my practice? So thinking about the people before COVID that you were just hanging with them, you were tolerating them. Could they be told goodbye? And do they even know that they're right? A lot of times they're so bad that they don't even know that you've said goodbye to them, right? So it could be that situation, but really assessing those relationships and saying, when I'm moving forward, I want to hit the reset button. I want to clean the slate and really work with people that align with how I want to work, align with me, that I really enjoy being around, that I truly want to help their businesses grow. And in turn, they'll help my businesses grow. And I want to spend time with them. Think about those sources. Now is the time to plant the seed, and then don't forget to water it. You can't just plant it and hope it grows. You have to plant the seed and start watering it so that it begins to blossom. These new relationships begin to blossom. And the relationships that you had before COVID that you want to keep is, what are you doing to water those relationships? I will tell you that if I were a partner, and I am a partner for a lot of people, there's a lot of people who have not reached out to me. Now, I've reached out to a lot of people. I've made some decisions that I don't want to work with some, and I've not made it quite through everybody yet on purpose and by design, because I want to see if they're going to communicate with me. If they, over these last 6 months, or, I don't know, I really exaggerated that, but since March, right? If they haven't reached out to me and they haven't asked how I'm doing or shown any concern for me, I'm not sure I really want to work with them in the future. Even though I like them, even though they'll compliment and not complicate, that really does show who they really are. And so we don't want to be in a position where we do the same thing, where we've got nose to the grind, and then later we go, oh, hey, you know what? Now I don't have any business, so now I'm going to pay attention to you. So thinking about your sources, both from the perspective of, are they the right ones for you to be working with? Are they sending you too much junk, right? And I don't like saying junk a lot, because people are people. Referrals are referrals, and leads are leads, and they are human beings. But making sure that you've really been very clear about the type of business that you're trying to get and what you do best in your niche, because we just don't have the opportunity right now as lenders, investors, and realtors to be sifting through hundreds and hundreds of leads that are going nowhere, right? Unless you're going to hire someone to do that for you. So I would look at your sources and say, am I really wasting? In fact, I've got a client, she said, I'm getting so many referrals. I don't know what to do. And And I said, well, are you tracking them? And she said, yeah, no, not really. Right. And we started tracking them. What we were finding is that she was getting referrals that she didn't need to be, it was taking too much time. It was taking her attention away from the transactions that she actually could close. Right. And that was, I think, more important. It doesn't mean not work with these clients at some point, but getting your priorities straight, not making every referral a priority, but rather figuring out, which referrals are priorities, take care of them, and then get back to the others, maybe on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. So I've got some further thoughts around that. And I know it's not as cut and dry as I'm telling you. So the last one is your style skills. And this is something that, when we get out of COVID, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be leaving our industries. Lots and lots of people. They are just not going to be able to cut it. And there's going to be a lot of competition, because what do you do when everybody has refinanced down into 2%, right? Or 3% interest rate? What do you do when that's the game that you're playing, is refinancing everyone into these low interest rates? What's left, right? Leaving your office, talking to realtors and financial planners and trying to get more business out there, for the people who didn't refinance for whatever reason, or people that have to buy. But there's going to be less competition, but there's also going to be fewer transactions, right? So what are you going to do that differentiates you in the marketplace? What are you going to do that's not going to make you vanilla ice cream out there? Vanilla ice cream with, oh, I can do renovation loans, or vanilla ice cream with, oh, I work for Remax. Those accessories or those toppings on there aren't going to be enough. What are you going to do to differentiate yourself to say, look, I'm pistachio ice cream, and not many people like pistachio, but those that do will come my way because they clearly see that I like pistachio, or Rocky Road, or whatever, cookie dough, or whatever it is. What are you going to do to differentiate yourself? And this is critical, because this is what top producers have. They have a very unique personality, style, and niche that they serve. They don't do all things. Now, that doesn't mean, for example, that I didn't do every kind of loan that came through across my desk, but I didn't market every single loan. I marketed the specific niche that I was in. And I do that today. I still originate for some very interesting alternative financing for non-owner occupied, which doesn't require a license. So I'm not in competition with any of my clients, but I still have to go out there and market that. But that is a very unique niche. So I'm not out there saying I can do everything. I'm saying I can only do a handful of things. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to get the other flavors to cross my desk and be able to, in my world, right, in what I'm doing. So those 5, I really want you to dig in, take some time and think, on a scale of 1 to 5, am I different, or am I just vanilla ice cream out there talking about products? What makes me different? Am I, are the sources on a scale of 1 to 5, how loyal are these sources? How good are these sources? Are they sources that I want to have with me? And break these out into several categories where you're doing 1 to 5, right? And how is my system? How's my system for prospecting on a scale of 1 to 5? What about during the sales process? What about afterward? What about my networking, my referral partners on a scale of 1 to 5? How good am I at reaching out to people? Having systems so that you can get much more done in a shorter period of time and have better results. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you today. I hope that helps you. I'd love to hear some of your feedback. So please continue to write reviews for us. Even if you've written a review before, please continue to write reviews. Share this podcast, pay it forward, share it with other people. There's a heck of a lot of podcasts out there. I'm the longest running in the mortgage space, which I'm really happy about. But I want you to consider sharing it forward and giving it to your friends. Now, look, in this COVID environment, why not listen to or watch videos, right? Podcasts, and talk about them with your friends. Have a podcast party, right? A podcast profit party where you talk about how you're all going to apply it to your business and your practice. So, I'm all about action, not just about how to do something. You need to do certain things, right? You know what to do. Love sharing with you how to do it and putting it really into action, taking that next step. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I want to remind everybody that we're going to be having another workshop, a virtual workshop. The last one that we had was fantastic. It was 3 days. We're going to move this into a day and a half. It will be in October, so keep your eyes and ears out for that. Please go to Mortgage Lending Mastery, the Facebook group online, and, join the group, be part of it so you hear this and other things. So I, literally 3-4 times a week, I am sharing something that I'm learning, something that have been asked a question from a client, from one of my coaching students, or someone that has been, has asked me a question on the Facebook page. So get yourself involved there. Let me help you double your income, multiply your results in record time. That's something I actually share with my coaching clients, is how to double their income. I've got 5 or 6 different ways that they can double it. And that's where we are seeing unbelievable, incredible results from our clients. So I look forward to talking to you next time on Mortgage Lending Mastery. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to Mortgage Lending Mastery. Be sure to subscribe to hear more sales tips, ideas, strategies, and tactics to help you with your personal and professional growth to multiply your results in record time. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Wanting more beyond the podcast? Join our Mortgage Lending Mastery membership community, where you will find extended interviews with our favorite guests, weekly training, tips, and insider secrets, fireside chats with Jen, free content, meet, share, and collaborate with other members, and so much more. Click the link in the show notes to learn more about this exclusive content. Mortgage Lending Mastery is an Industry Syndicate charter podcast. Industry Syndicate is the first podcast network specifically for the mortgage and real estate industries. Get the Industry Syndicate app in the App Store or Google Play today.